I knew it was fake, every smile, every touch, every, "I love you," she whispered in front of everyone. None of it was real. We had a deal. She needed a girlfriend to prove something to her family, and I needed money. Simple. Clean. No feelings. That's what we agreed on. But no one warned me, what happens when fake love starts feeling real. When her hand in mine stops feeling like an act. When her late-night texts become the only thing I wait for. When her voice starts living inside your head. And the worst part? She was perfect at pretending. Too perfect. Because I couldn't tell anymore. Was she acting, or was I the only one falling? I should have walked away the moment she kissed me that first time, but I didn't. And that was the biggest mistake of my life.
It all started with a message, a simple, random message that I almost ignored. "Hey. I got your number from a friend. I need help. I'll pay." I remember staring at my phone, confused. I didn't even ask who she was. I just asked one thing. How much? Because at that point in my life, I wasn't in a position to say no to money. Rent was late. Bills were stacking up. And my job barely covered food. I was tired, not just physically, but emotionally. So when she told me the amount, I said yes. Without thinking twice. I didn't know that one yes would change everything. The first time I saw her, I almost forgot why I was there. She didn't look like someone who needed help. She looked perfect. Confident. Calm. Untouchable. The kind of girl people stare at, without realizing it. She was standing outside a cafe, leaning slightly against the glass, scrolling through her phone like the world didn't exist. And somehow, I felt invisible standing in front of her. "You're late." That was the first thing she said. No smile. No greeting. Just control. I should have walked away right there. But I didn't. Because the moment she looked up at me, everything changed. Her eyes weren't cold, they were hiding something. Something heavy. Something real. "So, what exactly do you need?" I asked. She looked around for a second, like she was making sure no one was listening. Then she stepped closer. Too close. My heart skipped, and I hated that it did. "I need you to pretend to be my girlfriend." I blinked. Once. Twice. Waiting for her to laugh, but she didn't. She was serious. For how long? A few weeks, maybe longer. And why me? That's when she smiled for the first time. And I swear, it didn't feel like a normal smile. It felt calculated. "Because you look believable." I didn't know if that was a compliment, or something else. But before I could think too much about it, she added. "There are rules." Of course there were. No real feelings. I almost laughed. "Trust me, that won't be a problem." I wish I could go back to that moment, and hear how confident I sounded. How sure I was, that I'd stay in control. But life doesn't work like that. "You'll stay with me when needed," she continued. "You'll act naturally. Hold my hand, talk to me, be close, whatever it takes. And in public." She stepped even closer, close enough that I could feel her breath. "Especially in public." That's when I realized, this wasn't just pretending. This was going to feel real. And that scared me more than anything. But again, I didn't say no. Because I needed the money. Or at least, that's what I told myself. The first time she held my hand, it was in front of her family. I remember how natural she made it look. Like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Her fingers slid into mine so smoothly, that for a second, I forgot it was fake. I looked at her, expecting to see some kind of signal, some hint that she was acting. But there was nothing. Just a soft smile, and eyes that made me question everything. "She makes you happy?" her mother asked. I froze. I didn't know what to say. But she answered before I could. "She does." And the way she said it, it didn't sound fake. Not even a little. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my head. The way she looked at me, the way she touched me, the way she said she makes me happy, and that's when it hit me, this was dangerous. Because for the first time, I wasn't thinking about the money anymore. I was thinking about her. And that was exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. The next few days felt like something out of a dream. A fake dream that I was slowly getting lost in. We started spending more time together. Not just in front of people, but alone. And that's where things started to change. At first, it was small things. Like the way she'd text me randomly. "Did you eat?" Or, "Don't forget to sleep early." Simple messages. But they didn't feel simple. They felt real. And I hated that. Because every time my phone lit up with her name, my heart reacted before my brain could stop it. One night, she asked me to come over. "It's just for practice," she said. Practice. Like this whole thing was some kind of performance. When I got there, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Soft lights. Music playing low in the background. It didn't feel like practice. It felt personal. She was sitting on the couch when I walked in. Wearing something simple, but somehow, it didn't feel simple at all. Her hair slightly messy, like she didn't try too hard, but still looked perfect. "You're staring." I quickly looked away. "I'm not." She smiled. That same smile, the one that always made me feel like she knew more than she should. "Come here." My body moved before I could think. I sat next to her, close, but not too close. At least, that's what I tried to do. She didn't say anything for a few seconds. Just looked at me. And that silence, it was louder than anything. "You're nervous." "I'm not." "You are." She leaned closer. Slowly. Like she was testing me. "Relax," she whispered. And I swear, my heart completely lost control at that moment. "We need to make it look real, remember?" That word again. Real. Before I could respond, she gently took my hand. This time, there was no audience. No one watching. No reason to pretend. And yet, she didn't let go. I looked at her, trying to figure her out. But the more I looked, the more confused I became. "Why me?" I asked again. This time, my voice was softer. More honest. She didn't answer immediately. Her eyes dropped for a second, like she was thinking about something she didn't want to say. "Because you're different." That wasn't an answer. And we both knew it. But for some reason, I didn't push further. Maybe, I was afraid of the truth. Then it happened. The moment that changed everything. She moved closer, so close, I could feel her breath on my lips. My mind was screaming at me to stop. To pull away. To remember the rules. No feelings. But my body didn't listen. This is part of it, she whispered. And then, she kissed me. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't forced. It was slow, soft, and terrifyingly real. My heart stopped trying to understand anything after that. Because in that moment, I knew one thing for sure. This was no longer just a deal. And I was already too deep to get out. I wish I could say that after that night, I walked away. That I remembered the rules. That I protected myself. But I didn't. Because after that kiss, everything changed. Not just between us, but inside me. The next morning, I woke up in her apartment. And for a few seconds, I forgot it wasn't real. Her place felt warm. Safe. Like somewhere I belonged. She was already awake. Standing in the kitchen, making coffee like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like I had always been there. "Good morning," she said softly. And I don't know why, but that simple sentence hit me harder than anything else. Because it didn't feel fake. It felt like something real. "You didn't have to stay," I said. She looked at me, slightly confused. "I wanted to." And just like that, she broke another rule. Or maybe, I was the only one still trying to follow them. The days after that became different. She texted more. Called more. Not just for appearances, but for no reason at all. "I miss you." That's what she texted me one night. I stared at the message for a long time. Trying to figure out, was that part of the act too, or was she starting to feel something? And that's when the confusion started to eat me alive. Because I wasn't pretending anymore. Not even a little. I was falling. Slowly, and then all at once. But the real problem wasn't my feelings. It was hers. Because I couldn't read her. Not completely. One moment, she'd be soft. Gentle. Looking at me like I actually mattered. And the next, she'd pull away. Cold. Distant. Like none of it meant anything. And that's when I saw it, the first real red flag. It was a small thing. Something most people wouldn't even notice. But I did. One night, we were sitting together, scrolling through her phone. She was showing me something, laughing softly. And then suddenly, her phone lit up with a message. She froze. Just for a second. But I saw it. That reaction, it wasn't normal. "Who is it?" I asked casually. She locked her phone instantly. Too quickly. "No one. No one." That answer didn't sit right with me. "You looked worried." She forced a smile. "You're overthinking." Maybe I was. Or maybe, that was the moment I should have paid more attention. Because after that, things started to shift. She became unpredictable. Some nights, she'd hold me like she never wanted to let go. And other nights, she'd disappear. No calls. No texts. Just silence. And every time I asked, she gave the same answer. "It's nothing." But it wasn't nothing. I could feel it. There was something she wasn't telling me. Something important. And the worst part, I was too deep to walk away. I told myself, it didn't matter. That this was temporary anyway. That none of this was real. But deep down, I already knew the truth. It was real. At least for me. And if I wasn't careful, I wasn't just going to lose the deal, I was going to lose myself. Days turned into nights, and nights blurred into mornings. I didn't know where the act ended and reality began anymore. Every laugh, every touch, every glance, it felt real. Even though it wasn't supposed to. We started spending hours together. Cooking breakfast, watching shows, sharing stories. She asked about my childhood, my dreams, my fears. And I told her everything. Because it felt natural. And she listened. Really listened. Like I mattered. That was the dangerous part. The part that made me fall harder than I ever thought possible. Every time she laughed at something I said, my chest tightened. Every time she touched my arm, I could barely breathe. Every time she leaned closer while talking, my heart skipped a beat. I hated myself for feeling this way. Because I knew, it was supposed to be pretend. But my body didn't care. My heart didn't care. One rainy night, we stayed in her apartment, windows fogged, soft rain tapping the glass. She made tea, then sat down beside me, warm and inviting. "You're quiet tonight," she said softly. I couldn't hide it. "I'm thinking," I admitted. She tilted her head, watching me. "About what?" "You," I whispered. And that's when the silence hit. She didn't say anything, just looked at me with those deep, unreadable eyes. My chest tightened. My stomach fluttered. And all I wanted was more. She finally moved closer, not touching yet, just close enough for my heart to race uncontrollably. "Do you ever think about real feelings?" she asked, barely above a whisper. My throat went dry. I swallowed. Yes, I admitted. She smiled slightly, almost imperceptibly, and I couldn't tell if it was good or bad. Then she reached for my hand. Slowly. Tenderly. "I like this," she said softly. And I froze. My mind screamed. This is just pretend. But my heart ignored it completely. I wanted her. Needed her. And that terrified me. We stayed like that for hours, talking quietly, sharing small jokes, brushing hands accidentally. Every touch was electric. Every smile made me weaker. Every glance cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt before. And the scariest part, I knew I wasn't falling alone. I could see it in her eyes. Those fleeting moments, when she looked at me with something more than act. Something real. That's when I realized, we were both trapped. Trapped in a game that had already become reality. And no one had told me how dangerous that could be. I should have seen it coming. I really should have. But when she asked me to help her with something private, I didn't question it. "I need you to meet someone for me," she said one evening. My heart skipped. "Who?" I asked casually. She hesitated. "Just trust me," she whispered. I wanted to argue. To say no. But I didn't. Something inside me told me to follow. The meeting place was a small, quiet cafe across town. She arrived first, sitting in the corner, her posture perfect, eyes scanning the street. When I walked in, she smiled, but that smile didn't reach her eyes. Something was off. "Sit," she said softly. I sat. Heart racing. "You've been great," she began. "But there's something I need to tell you." My stomach dropped. "I haven't been completely honest," she admitted. My mind went blank. "What do you mean?" I asked cautiously. She looked away, fidgeting with her hands. I'm not just pretending for my family," she whispered. My chest tightened. "Then what is it?" I demanded, voice trembling slightly. She took a deep breath, then looked at me with a mix of fear and relief. I started wanting this to be real. My heart raced. I didn't know what to say. You, what? She leaned closer, voice barely audible. I wanted to like you, for real. I froze. My head spun. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The late-night texts, the stolen glances, the way she sometimes held me just a moment too long, but also, the cold nights, the silences, the red flags I ignored. I wanted to feel relief. Joy. But all I felt, was confusion. Why didn't you say anything sooner? I asked, voice shaking. I was scared, she admitted. Scared you wouldn't feel the same, scared it would ruin everything. I looked at her. Her eyes, vulnerable, raw, real. And suddenly, I didn't care about the rules anymore. I think I already do, I whispered. She smiled. Soft. Hesitant. Nervous. But that's when I noticed it, the message notification on her phone. A name I didn't recognize. She looked at me, eyes wide, almost guilty. It's nothing, she said. But I knew. I didn't know the half of it. And that was the moment I realized, this story wasn't just about pretend love anymore. It was about secrets. Lies. And the dangerous line between truth and deception. After that cafe meeting, everything felt different. I couldn't stop thinking about that mysterious message. Her reaction. Her guilt. And the way she wouldn't tell me who it was. For the next few days, I tried to ignore it. Pretend everything was normal. But nothing felt normal anymore. Every laugh, every touch, every smile, it was tainted with doubt. And then, it happened. One night, she invited me over. I need to talk, she said. The moment I walked in, I knew. Something was wrong. She looked nervous, pacing the room. Sit, she finally said, avoiding my eyes. My chest tightened. What's going on? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She took a deep breath. I haven't been honest about everything, she admitted. My heart dropped. What do you mean? The message. She started, voice trembling. It wasn't nothing. My stomach sank. Who is it? She hesitated. Someone from my past, someone I shouldn't have been talking to. I felt a wave of panic. Betrayal. Fear. Confusion. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, heart cutting through me like a knife. I didn't want to lose you, she whispered. Those words should have comforted me, but they didn't. Instead, they made my head spin. Because I realized I couldn't trust her completely. That night, the distance grew between us. Not physical, but emotional. We stayed in the same room, talking, touching, pretending everything was okay. But inside, I felt a storm building. And I knew, the closer I got to her, the deeper the betrayal could hurt. I loved her more than I should have. And that was my weakness. Over the next week, signs of betrayal became clearer. Late-night texts she hid. Quick glances at her phone when I walked in. Whispered calls I wasn't allowed to hear. Every small thing chipped away at the trust I had built. And the scariest part, I still wanted her. Even though I knew she might be lying. That's when I realized, love isn't about rules, promises, or deals. It's about risk. And I had already risked everything. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind replayed every detail, every hidden glance, every whispered word I wasn't supposed to hear. The next day, she called me. Her voice, softer than usual, almost pleading. We need to talk. Really talk. I met her at our usual cafe. She was already there, hands wrapped around a coffee cup, eyes avoiding mine. Sit, she said quietly. I sat, heart pounding. I've been hiding the truth, she began, staring at the table. My chest tightened. Tell me, I whispered. She looked up, and finally. The messages, the calls, the other person, it's complicated. My hands clenched. Explain, I demanded. She took a deep breath, tears forming in her eyes. I was trying to protect you, protect us. But I wasn't honest about my past, and now it's catching up with me. I felt the world shift. What do you mean? I was engaged once, she admitted. My stomach dropped. Engaged, I echoed. Yes, she whispered. And he's back, trying to contact me. The coffee cup trembled in her hands. I didn't want to drag you into this. I thought I could handle it alone, but I can't. I sat in silence. My mind racing. Betrayal, fear, confusion, all hitting me at once. And yet, my heart ached for her. Because despite everything, I still loved her. She looked at me, tears streaming, voice trembling. I wanted this, us, to be real. But now, I don't know if it can be. And in that moment, I realized the truth. Love isn't simple. It's messy. Complicated. Dangerous. But also, the only thing worth risking everything for. I reached out and took her hand. We'll figure it out, I said softly. Her eyes widened, hope mingled with fear. Together, she whispered. Together, I confirmed. And for the first time, since this all began, we felt like we were on the same side. But deep down, I knew the battle wasn't over. Secrets, lies, and the past, they don't disappear. They only get buried, until the right moment. The days after the big reveal were the hardest. We tried, really tried, to pretend life was normal. To act like nothing had happened. But every text, every call, reminded me of the past she was hiding. I couldn't stop thinking about him. About her engagement. About the possibility that she might still have feelings for him. One night, I couldn't hold it anymore. Are you still in love with him? I asked, my voice shaking. She froze. Eyes widening. Lips trembling. I don't know, she admitted softly. That single sentence cut deeper than anything before. I felt my chest tighten, tears welling up. Because I realized, love isn't just about being together. It's also about fear, doubt, loss. That night, I cried alone in my apartment. Thinking of all the moments. The laughter, the touches, the closeness. And wondering if it was ever real. And yet, deep inside, I couldn't let go. Because despite the betrayal, despite the secrets, I loved her. The next day, I met her again. She tried to smile, but it was fragile. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know, I said, my own voice breaking. We sat in silence, two hearts full of love and pain. And in that silence, I realized something terrifying. I couldn't live without her. But I also couldn't trust her completely. Love had trapped me. And heartbreak had begun its slow, merciless work. Every moment together felt both like salvation and punishment. And I knew that this storm would either break us or bind us forever. Weeks passed. The storm between us didn't come overnight. But somehow, we survived it. Not perfectly. Not without scars. I learned things about her, about myself, that I never wanted to know. And I realized, love isn't perfect. It's messy, confusing, painful, and sometimes, terrifying. Yet, it's the only thing that makes life worth it. One evening, we sat together, hands intertwined. The city lights flickering through the window. Silence between us, comfortable this time. "Do you think we can really make this work?" I asked, voice soft. She looked at me, eyes full of honesty, fear, hope. "I want to try," she said. And I nodded. Me too. The past didn't disappear. The secrets, the betrayal, the doubts, they lingered. But for the first time, I felt something different. Hope. Love. Because maybe, just maybe, two broken hearts could learn to heal together. And in that moment, I realized that love, real love, isn't about perfection. It's about choosing each other, again and again. Even when the world tries to tear you apart. I held her hand a little tighter. Looked into her eyes. And whispered softly. Together. And for the first time, it felt like forever.